I'm joined now by one of the most influential voices in South Africa, philanthropist Ivor Ichikowitz. He's the founder and executive chairman of the Paramount Group. Ivor, we're talking about trade, investment, close military and economic ties between China and the continent of Africa. Is this relationship mutually beneficial?
So the relationship between Africa and China has been a really important one over the years, and China has played a huge role in the development of the continent. There's been very tangible progress over the last decade, and a lot of it has come because of this relationship that is nurtured through BRICS. And I think that there's a huge amount of optimism about the future of that relationship and the extent to which China can play an ever-increasing role in the rapid development of the African continent.
And I want to talk about the Brics Summit in just a moment, but how much has China's inroads in Africa really shifted the geopolitical order at a time the Trump administration is showing very little interest in this African continent?
So there's this belief that China is in competition with the United States or the rest of the world for dominance in Africa, and I don't see it that way. I think that there's a role for China, there's a role for Africa, there's a role, for the United States, there's a role for Europe in Africa. Right now, the continent needs to grow and develop as quickly as it possibly can, and it's unfortunate that the United States has not shown a lot more interest in the African continent because there is necessity to have both Chinese and American investment on the continent. In the vacuum that was created by a reducing interest from Europe and no interest from the United States over many years, China has stepped in, played a phenomenal role. I mean, nobody can fault the development that has happened on this continent thanks to the Chinese commitment. And I think that that creates an opportunity for the United States. I think that the Trump administration needs to see Africa as a massive opportunity and a place to go and stand toe-to-toe with China and also to partner with China. I think the African continent is not about dominance. We will never allow colonization of this continent again. Our democracies are too strong for that. And therefore, no African country wants to see Chinese dominance or American dominance or European dominance. We want to work with everybody. And it's through, there's no other place in the world that creates a better opportunity for collaboration between China and the United States. And I'm hopeful that, that this will come out in Washington and that America will take that challenge and start pursuing collaboration opportunities far more actively.
And let me now move on to the Brics Summit, which starts on Wednesday. How much do you believe the current trade dispute, or war, if you will dominate the discussions between these emerging economies?
So I personally believe that this trade dispute is an issue between China and Russia, which is about China and the United States, which is about those economies. I don't think that trade dispute should have a huge influence on the discussions during the Brics Summit. Sure, there's going to be a lot more discussion about a new world order in terms of how trade is conducted around the world. And I think you're going to see a breaking up of traditional trade blocs and the opening up of new trade blocs. I mean, there's a big emphasis today on a Pan-African trading bloc and the opening up of borders in Africa and much more trade collaboration in Africa, which has come about because of a nervousness around these big trade disputes that are taking place in the developed world. And I think that's probably a good thing. It's not necessarily bad for these economies. But I'm hopeful that the issues of the United States and China in their domestic markets and their domestic environment don't dominate BRICS, because this BRICS discussion should be about how the BRICS countries collaborate to trade between themselves and not necessarily create an alternative or a further challenge to the dispute that's taking place in the rest of the world.
Understood. We'll have to leave it there. Ivor Ichikowitz, thank you so much.